Welcome back to Chit Chats, everybody. My name is Antonio.
My name's Jackass, and let's have a chit chat.
Let's have a chit chat. Yes, thank you, Brennen. Jackass, whatever your name is. Guys, today's a very special episode because, guys, we have breaking news today. Okay, me and Brennen here are going to cover some news stories, some really popular news stories that have been popping up. They're very mainstream. You might have heard of them, you might have not. Either way, we're covering them today. Brennen, consider me to be the anchor of this newscast. Brennen, you're my co-anchor. We both have so many stories to cover today. Brennen, are you ready?
Yes.
All right, Brennen. Here, I'll take the first story. All right, in a very surprising story tonight. We have me sharing my screen. So, Brennen, why don't you look at my screen really quick? All right, so to start off, guys, you won't believe what this man found in buried sex dungeon under his house. Here's the story. Source: http www.mir.co UK News Home Sex Tomb 1. These women are beautiful. A man took a picture of his wife during a Brazilian wax job. Source: http www.dailymail.co.uk female article and then a website. Can you believe that? I think that that's frankly pretty shocking. That's pretty shocking news to me.
That is very shocking.
It's very. Thank you, Brent. On this wonderful night, we have a very exciting story in that. But we have to move on. Okay. We have so many more stories to cover actually. So Brennen, why don't you take this next story? Let's do this. Let's do this one. All right. So Brennen, why don't you take this next story here?
No. This family raised a pet ostrich to act like a human. Why was this family so strange? Was the head of a household a man who wore leather skin? See picture. He was probably a woman at once, but made a transition. He was interesting. After we took the trip to the Palace of Versailles.
That Versailles, I believe is that word.
It was incredibly beautiful. The palace looked like a huge castle. You could walk into the gardens and smell the roses. I would have never thought that's where that story would have gone.
I know, man. Me too. Okay, that's a crazy story. Oh my goodness gracious! Like that's got to be one of the craziest stories I've heard all week. But Brennen, we have so many more stories to go through today. How can we linger on this one? Okay, so why don't we go on to our next story for tonight? We have, in a shocking development, oh my goodness gracious. Okay. In a shocking development, YouTube sensation Markiplier crashes website OnlyFans after 1 day video. Markiplier creates 8-hour work of art, the money to raise $1 million to help kids with cancer. 44-year-old man saves baby boy from drowning. Forced removal. Immigrant parents fight order to hand over children. Tuesday, September 26th. YouTube celebrity Markiplier crashes website after posting. Ends nighttime livestream. Trump administration threatens North Korea with fire and fury. Facts are okay. This is insane. Like this is a insane news story. Like you have to admit. Like
I'm sorry. I'm breaking character real quick. I need to take a picture of that.
I did not expect that story to go this way. I'm not going to lie. But that's just how things go here on CCN Chit Chats News, I suppose. A typical development for Chit Chats News, I suppose. Okay, but Brennen, we have more news stories to cover.
Yes, we have.
We do. We have so many more to cover. So Brennen, why don't you cover this next one? Very topical news story today. If you would please.
The reviews are in for Black Adam. Here's what people have to say. Black Adam, no Asian Americans for the DCEU. As of this writing, there's only one Asian American actor confirmed for the film. Ray Fisher is playing Victor Stone, aka Cyborg, with long-term star. with long. Okay,
With
but when it comes to Black Adam, there's only one Asian American actor confirmed, Jack Kirby, and unfortunately, he's the villain, Shazam. There's also one Asian American who was listed as possibly being screwed over. Back to you, Antonio.
Oh my goodness, Brennan, that's got to be one of the craziest news stories I've heard all week. But Brennan, we have so many more news stories to cover tonight. All right, Brennan, I'll take this next one. So apparently, from what my sources are saying, supposedly the key to being a millionaire has been solved, and it involves threatening to kill yourself. Okay, so that was a joke, but the answer to the question is really simple. First, take some cash from the bank. Enough that if you were to self-inflict a fatality in the near future, it would be in question as to whether your death was really your own or if it was at the hands of a gun, truck, or IED. Do not risk the life of your loved ones to invest in a scam. Second, you must make $40,000 a year. No more, no less. That is the amount that people who are self-sufficient make. Millionaires don't have time, Brennan. They don't have time for anything.
That went that interesting fast.
I know that was a crazy development. In my years of a news anchor, I have not seen something just quite as crazy as that. I have to say. Brennan, why don't you cover this next story, if you would so be ever so kind.
Alrighty. Let's just ban pussy from being used on their site. Here's the guest. Pussy, the term for vagina. Per the report, we have been made aware of the offensive term pussy is being used on Twitter to describe vulva.
Yeah.
The term is not in violation of our terms of service or user agreement. Twitch has zero tolerance policy for racism, sexism, homophobic, transphobic, violence, harassment, bullying, and other predatory behaviors. This is why you should buy a pair of glasses for checking your email. It's part of Google's digital.
Holy crap, that's crazy. That's pretty crazy, dude. You have to admit. Oh my goodness. Okay. What commentary do you have to say about that, Brennan?
Twitch lost their mind halfway through the interview.
I agree. But Brennan, we have more news stories to cover, okay? YouTube, supposedly, YouTube offered Pornhub a deal they can't refuse, okay? Pornhub is bowing out of the Google Play Store, linked to a picture, by Elliot Tabell. Google will replace it with a soon-to-be-released package called Pornhub Premium and promise better security features to the tens of millions of other porn consumers. Pornhub continues to be a popular destination within the Play Store, says Scott Stykes, Pornhub Vice President of Marketing. However, given that pornography is often associated with piracy, it is. It is, Brennan. It is. It is. I don't know what else to say about that. It is. So that's a pretty crazy story.
For real though, it sounded like an actual story.
Well, and that's the thing, Brennan, is that these are all 100% accurate.
100%
stories. Okay, so and they're meant to be taken seriously. So if we could please not laugh anymore because it's not appropriate. Okay, Brennan, why don't you take this next story? It's a very interesting one. Hello, Brennan. Brennan, you're on. Brennan, you're on air.
Oh! Sorry. My dad came back from getting milk. I do this then. I don't tell anyone what I do with the rest of my day, except when it's over. I showered today, did my hair and makeup.
Holy shit!
I wore my best jeans and new blouse and best shoes. I went to a job interview. I don't know what I'm looking for or why. I have to go to job interviews, but I do. Not all I do. I don't do for anymore. I drink every day, even though I don't really want to. I'm feeling too bloated lately, but I'm getting paid for it. I spend most of my time I spend most of my time.
That you do, as you should. I'm not sure how that relates to your dad coming back from getting milk, but you know what? That's pretty. That's a wholesome story. Okay, I have to say. Um, but Brennan, we only have a few more news stories to cover tonight. I will take this next one. It's a pretty crazy story. I have to say, personally, I was pretty shocked when I first heard it. Scientist finds link to gay gene from vaping, apparently, and so the Associated Press, Washington. A small study suggests that teenage vaping may be tied to higher chances of trying cigarettes. E-cigarettes use a nicotine-laced liquid, just like regular cigarettes, but they don't contain the chemicals known as tar that makes cigarette smoke dangerous to lungs. One major e-cigarette maker recently announced it's quit selling most flavors of vaping liquid. The British study found that teen vapers were 4 times more likely to smoke cigarettes within, and then it just ends. That's the end of the story. I guess the news reporter died or something, probably vaped too much. But that's pretty crazy, okay? I have to say, in my new years as a news anchor, I have not seen a story quite like that one. Brennan, we have one more story to cover today. So why don't you take this one to close us off tonight on this wonderful episode of Chit Chats News.
Fuck you. This just in, I've shit myself. Now, Aaron at the front wheel. There, I feel a little better. The quad, the din, as many entities and symphonies filled my ears. It was time. Rethink. Aaron sat in a chair in front of the scrunched up cardboard background. This was not the mystery box material that John Harrison had approved. John Harrison walked on set and explained, mystery box? It's just a box with clues in it that actors need to find. This is actually being actors shot in the same location. Okay.
Wow.
And that is the end of the story.
That's a pretty crazy story, Brennan. I'm not sure what you shitting yourself had to do with it, but Brennan, I hope you can recover from that. I really do.
Just in.
But Brennan, that is going to conclude this episode of Chit Chats News. I've been your anchor, Antonio. Brennan, you've been my wonderful co-anchor. Thank you so much. Do you have any closing thoughts to give our audience before we close out tonight?
My name's Brennan. Welcome to Jackass.
Thank you, Brennan. All right, and we'll see you guys in the next episode of Chit Chats News. Peace out.
The fastest episode of Chit Chats ever.
I know.